Fall 1981. Many small TV station jobs were low-paying, but I was hoping to eventually make some good money. 1981, I applied for something new. I saw a listing in the newspaper, help wanted. They were looking for a cameraman, for a new startup. What the hell, I said. After a few weeks they asked me in to discuss available jobs. Not really a cameraman, we decided a better fit for me would be working in the studio. I was to report to the Sunset Vine Tower. It was for a new venture, a new cable news network. CNN was about a year old and was not that big yet. Cable TV was new and not everyone had cable either. It was an exciting time, a new group working on a new adventure. Cable TV was creating new jobs. For me, I got right into a spot and was trained as a TD on the Lee Leonard People Now show, an entertainment talk show, a poor man's Merv Griffin. Our show was the precursor to Entertainment Tonight, a place I would also find a job in the near future. This CNN/World Communications place seemed like a cheap shit operation. The location was good though. The studio was located in a very narrow, high-rise, very thin office building, located in the center of Hollywood, the corner of Sunset and Vine Street. You cannot get more Hollywood than that. During a show, you could hear the elevator noise running, since the elevator bank was right behind the studio. The green room was directly in front of the elevator banks on the other side. There was a bar/restaurant on the top floor, Simply Blues. Visitors on their way up to Blues on occasion, by mistake stopped on our floor. Sometimes the shocked visitors would be face to face with cheese-eating celebs waiting for their segment on the show. It was real half-ass, but lots of fun. The talk show hosting duties started with Mr. Leonard. Lee was a New York fixture, having a midday talk show a few years earlier. He was a pretty good guy. The show looked cheap and had an occasional technical glitch of one sort or another. Mike Douglas replaced Lee Leonard after a year. Mike was paid the unheard-of salary of $1 million a year. They also gave him this ugly cocoon of a studio set. They brought in fancy Hollywood set designers who proceeded to strip the flavor from the place, no more out-the-window shot. The show at 10 p.m. Pacific time, so you could not see the Hollywood sign out the window anyway. Mike's old show played afternoons. I recall watching it on occasion around 430, while working in Alaska. On the old Group W show, Mike Douglas always had a studio audience. He was getting tiring for the Group W execs and they wanted someone new. They fired Mike and replaced him with a younger host, John Davidson. People Now on CNN with Mike Douglas was also a flop. The show had no budget, and the crappy Cocoon studio with no live audience did not help. So Turner brought in the talented and funny Bill Tush to take over the hosting. They busted down the Cocoon and brought back the old backdrop, which was a window looking out at the Hollywood sign. Still, it was night so you could not see anything, just dark. The set consisted of a talk show desk and 2 chairs. Behind the desk were some pictures of old Hollywood celebrities hanging on the wall behind the guests. For a laugh, we replaced a few of the celeb photos with photos of family and friends. Near the elevators, outside the show studio, was where the men's room was. The studio crew, as well as the celebrities, would use the same bathroom. It was small, with the usual urinal and the one-seated toilet bowl. There had a woman's bathroom on the other side of the elevator, where it is said that one of the office girls was attacked by the door from the toilet stall. It was an odd story that I had overheard. On the men's side bathroom, one disgusting thing that you could not avoid seeing, was in front of the urinal. As you were taking a leak, looking straight ahead, you could not help avoid seeing what was labeled in a black Sharpie pen, the Celebrity Snot Hall of Fame. It did not start out with that title, it kind of evolved organically. It started with one booger that was shot up there, indiscriminately by a nose picker. It was not cleaned by the cleaning staff for many weeks. There it stayed. It was a solid, seemingly indestructible piece of snot. This booger was not alone. Day by day the wall collected more and more slimy additions. After the mass grew to an unacceptable level, someone decided to draw boxes around each booger, labeling each with the name of the suspected booger shooter. With the Sharpie, in bold letters, someone titled the disgusting mess, the Celebrity Snot Hall of Fame. There was William Shatner's hanging boogers, along a wet snot ball one from supposedly Leslie Nielsen. Other contributors included Pee Wee Herman, Lee Leonard, Charlotte Heston and of course Mike Douglas. After a few months of this mess, the wall became quite crowded. Finally, someone alerted the cleaning staff to all the framed snot balls and the disgusting collection was wiped clean. Thank goodness. Hollywood at the time was jumping with all sorts of crazy stuff. The punk music thing was hopping. My work pals were into that crap. I could not understand why. Just like the soon-to-come disco and then the rap music eras, I did not get this crap music. I was not into it. My music taste developed in the 1960s and 1970s when the radio played real rock and roll music. There was well-written songs, hard-driving guitars and nice melodies. I found that punk, then disco then rap were a lot of noise. I took part in our group's punk activities though. We had a good group of characters working at Wold/CNN. There was a hangout called the 00 Club. We'd go there on an occasional weekend night. The 00 was a Hollywood punk insiders hangout. Although I hated the punk scene, this place was not about the music. It was in a place that only insiders knew about, and our job had a few tuned-in insiders. There was lots of drugs around. The girl behind the bar served cans of beer. She opened the ring top on a can with the back of a fork, not to mess up her fingernails. My ride was still a POS Ford Pinto and would do the daily drive from Redondo Beach, where I was still living with two of my old telco pals in a nice big house. The Pinto crapped out on me on the way to work, prompting a move to the lower Hollywood Hills, a few blocks from work. The building was kind of weird. I heard that the Hillside Strangler once lived there. I could walk down Vine Street, along the boulevard of broken dreams with the celebrity stars at my feet. The old Columbia studios were to the east on Sunset Boulevard. During lunch breaks walking the neighborhood was interesting. The job was near the old Columbia backlots where the Three Stooges did most of their work. The area near what they called Gower Gulch looked very familiar. Gower Boulevard was a road that went all the way up to the Hollywood sign. The area was redesigned since the 1930s, news strip malls were abundant, but some of the old buildings were still around. There was exploring to do, some photographs taken. I was doing some exploring of the area, photographing the transients and the homeless I spotted along Sunset. Who were these people? How did they get there? Maybe they were lured by the bright lights and dreams of fame and fortune. Maybe they were just local drug abusers or drunks, or down on their luck veterans. My creation was going to be titled the Bum of the Month calendar. Yes, it was rather insensitive tile, but the working title nonetheless. The problem was that my collection never got to the magic 12 number. The project was shelved, but there were about 8, quality, 16 by 20-inch hand-tinted homeless photos. They looked great, but many questioned the subject matter. Being sympathetic to the homeless, the intention was to turn over a percentage to charity. But alas, the calendar did not get made. I intended on donating a kind of strange, being fascinated by the subject. I was thinking maybe I would mass-produce the calendars, then market them, and sell them, donating a portion to charity. Being really into the photography, a small dark room was built in the kitchen. While I was moving out, I found out they were running a whorehouse out of an apartment down the hall. Leaving this small crap apartment, me and some chums from work, decided to all split in, and get a house that was next to the Hollywood Reservoir. It was a beautiful house, and after about 6 months there, finally discovered that the Hollywood Reservoir and Dam was right around the curve on our road, just a stone's thrown away. One day my road run took me around the road bend, leaving me face to face with this large dam and a cool walking path along its top. There was a fantastic view of the Hollywood sign from the path. Work was going smooth. Working on the CNN uplinks and talk shows was challenging. After a year of working the talk show, the space expanded and a TOC, Technical Operations Center, was built on the west side of the building. By that time we were moved to other positions, no longer working on the talk show. Some of us now went to work in the TOC. A few staff members stayed behind to take care of CNN studio operations. Our new TOC, Technical Operations Center, responsibilities was routing of microwave paths back and forth to our satellite uplinks shack. The operation also had a few microwave transmission remote trucks. My title was TOC Supervisor title. Me and 3 others at the time got a bit more responsibility. We had the FCC licenses and were tasked with reconfiguring the microwave plumbing at the Earth Station, located on the ABC backlot. We had a log and a schedule, and we had to route the correct signals to the correct microwave paths, then up to the satellite or up to the bird as we'd say. One time while visiting the small Earth Station to do some reconfiguration of the microwave waveguide plumbing, there was a noticeable acrid smell. Something was burning, yes, and the smell just kept getting stronger and stronger, until the room filled with nasty and probably poisonous smoke. Quickly the plumbing was adjusted, making sure all our service was protected. The shack was on fire. Oh shit. The halon system did not kick in, which was good for me. During a fire, when the halon system is functioning correctly, the room fills with halon, which starves the fire of oxygen. Correction, halon 1301 will not suck out all the oxygen or kill you. Customers do need to exit the space if there is a fire, as to not breath in the products of combustion, according to the internet's fact page. Getting out of there quickly was the plan, and a call was made to the TOC, also called was the fire department, and save the shack. One of the waveguides had caught fire inside the building wall, where the guide exits the building on its wave to the uplink dish. Disaster was averted, that goodness. In the TOC there was also 1-inch and 3/4 tape playback capabilities. At night time things got a little strange. The shift was 3 to 11 p.m., at times leaving at midnight. Late at night, there were strange things happening on the Hollywood streets below. During the day, between 11:30 to 12 noon. It was the time to uplink a tape from the show called Entertainment Tonight. Entertainment Tonight would physically run their newly completed 1-inch tapes, up to our playback station, which was routed to the satellite for same-day syndication. Entertainment Tonight would cut the edited pieces the evening before, then in the morning they would do the show in the studio, rolling in the edit pieces from the night before. The shows were ready to roll out of the TOC for evening airings at all their affiliate stations. 2 guys were given the tapes to run up the block to the TOC from ET Studios. This was a time-sensitive feed and we had their satellite window ready to go. It was booked with us daily. We would watch as these 2 production assistants would try to get through traffic on foot, always late, always in a rush. We would have the machines ready to load when they arrived. They looked so stressed as they made the mad dash for our building. It was entertaining. At night it was much quieter. Like I said earlier, it was also crazier outside. The only entertainment was to watch reruns of the Tommy Cottle show. Cottle was a mild-mannered psychologist of some sort. By the time Cottle went up on the bird, the TOC operator was in the famous World TOC reclined mode. We called him Tommy Cottle, Tommy Squatto, just for fun. His show was a boring psychological adventure into the lives of famous people. The TOC chairs were on their back and the operator was spread out on the carpeted floor, using the chair as a backrest. Beside watching Squatto, there was an occasion late task for CNN, maybe a late breaking story to uplink to Atlanta. There was other things going on outside the building. The main show was taking place across the street in the little fountain in front of the bank. This girl will come walking out of the Hollywood Hills, where she supposedly lived in the wild. She would come down to bath in the fountain in front of the bank. Word was that she was from a rich Hollywood family who could not handle modern life, so she moved into the woods. The overnight operator pointed out what this strange girl was doing, saying the routine was done almost on a nightly basis. There were many other crazy things that happened after hours. The company also had a transportable Earth station. The company assigned two of and trailer rig was going through the Cahuenga Pass. Something happened. The large dish on the trailer was passing the truck in the right lane, which is not a good place to be. The driver looked in his side view mirror and there it was, the trailer driving itself, no longer attached to the truck. Luckily for everyone, the trailer went over to the shoulder of the road, by itself, causing no damage.